Arsenal closing in on 2 done deals to activate the potential of Eze in. We're delving into those Arsenal stories. They're only a couple of hours, by the way, ahead of a big pre-season friendly against Tottenham, a North London derby that we're going to be talking about as well. Plus, the price has been set for Benjamin Sesko, and United have started concrete talks, concrete work on signing Donnarumma from Paris Saint-Germain, according to Jan Furitov. We're talking about both those deals, and we're looking at Chelsea. Hato through the door. Xavi Simons is next. Look, your views, your opinions, what you think and feel is far more important to us than what I think. So make sure like buttons are hit. Make sure the subscribe button has been touched and that bell notification is done. This is the Done Deal Show. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching around the world. Some really big transfer stories to bring to you this morning, but also to get your opinions on. I want to know your thoughts and your feelings on them. Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, the main agenda today. But of course, any questions you have, any stories you share in our comment section, we will also discuss as well. Hi to Forever United. Thank you very much for the super chat this morning. I appreciate that massively. Thank you very, very much indeed. Good morning to Lou. Hope you are well. And for now, they've put the usernames back on YouTube, which is very, very nice. Although YouTube's been on a madness this last 24 hours. What have you done to the RPM people? You know, we've got staff to pay here. Come on, get it sorted. Morning to you. Morning, Adam. Hope you are very, very well indeed. Hope you're good. Morning, Cobes. Loads of people tuning in here. Gone Adventuring says, good morning, Terry. Score prediction for Arsenal Tottenham. I'm going 3-1 Arsenal. I'm going 3-1 to Arsenal. Now, look, we've got Arsenal transfer chat coming up. We're going to be talking Chelsea, but I want to start with Manchester United. I want to start with a very interesting story that was kind of shut down yesterday, but it's reared its head again today. And as per this comment from Diego, that says, Terry, Fab said no talks with Donnarumma. What changed from yesterday? Well, this is the thing for me. It's all about this is why I listen to multiple journalists at the same time. Always have done, and I always will do. So when you look at this situation, I listen to Fabrizio and I trust him. He speaks a lot of sense, and he tells the truth to the best of his knowledge. I don't think he ever lies. That being said, he isn't the only journalist in the world. He isn't the only person with sources. And this shows. Now, according to Jan Furitov, for a few years, I haven't really seen him around the transfer. You know, he's an ex-football player. He is a journalist. He's someone who, when it comes to German football, has always had a very, very, his finger very, very close to the pulse. But he's got a number of stories right over the years. And he was the guy yesterday, before Ben Jacob dropped the full exclusive story. But before Ben Jacob dropped it, Jan Furitov said that Sesko wants Man United, and Man United are kind of leading this race. It was from that tweet that you saw like a domino effect in relation to all these other deals. Well, not deals, sorry. All these other stories that came out. So Jan Furitov holds a certain amount of credibility. Now, what he has said this morning is talks regarding Gigi Donnarumma to Man United are ongoing. The process is on. I love how everyone's using on now. I don't get the credit I deserve for starting that as a phrase in transfers. The report suggesting it's a non-starter are incorrect. Now, what's really important to remember here is that he hasn't said United are going to get him. He hasn't said United, the player was chosen to leave PSG. He's just saying that the reports that conversations haven't begun is a non-starter. And I do get your point, Diego, where you say Fab and Ornstein are the two journalists in the game. Well, this just isn't true, because the full exclusive breakdown story yesterday of the Sesko news, all emanated from Ben Jacobs. So the idea that they're the only journalists in the game is wrong. They're just the two that most people hold in the highest regard. And I believe in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see some more journalists. I think Ben Jacobs is going to become one of them that moves into that realm. Because what I think happens now in the social media world, the more respected and the bigger journalists get, the more clubs and agents feed them to be able to push that news out so that the correct story is there. And I think that it's just about growing your profile in that way. And I think Jacobs has done a very good job of that. So look, do I think Man United are going to get Donnarumma? That's the first part of this. The answer right now is no, I don't. Do I think there are conversations? Yes. Do I think that Manchester United could sign him? Do we have the pull? Do we have the prowess? Of course, Manchester United do. This summer alone has proven it. Now, people are terrible. You got rejected by Delap and you got rejected by Gyökeres. Listen, the media hasn't used the word rejected, but I will. That happens. But that doesn't mean that we're not still a big pull and we're not still a big attraction to a number of players. And this idea that United are dead, this idea that United are buried, this idea that United are never going to get back to the top, I think is folly. I always have done, I always will do. It would take 30 or 40 years of campaigns like last year to kill us from the size of club that we are. So do I think we can get Donnarumma? Yes, I think it's possible. Do I think we will get him? No. My current gut feeling is I think there are conversations because there's always the possibility that PSG don't give the player what he wants. I think he ends up signing a new deal and staying at PSG. That being said, if Man United were to get this deal done, if Man United were to sign this phenomenal player, this fantastic talent, then from my point of view and perspective, the expectations rise. So at the moment, with what we've got coming in, I'm looking at it, I'm saying I really want us challenging for the top 8 to top 6. And you have to, I'm factoring that in because I haven't seen anybody else play yet outside of, I've watched Liverpool and I've watched Arsenal this preseason, of course, Chelsea at the Club World Cup. Donnarumma comes in. That's when I'm looking at this as you must be in the top 6 and at the very least pushing for a Champions League space, which is most likely going to be 5 positions. I'm very confident England will get the 5 slots again. So, and why you may ask? Well, because I think Donnarumma is the kind of goalkeeper that whoever signs him, unless you've already got a world-class goalkeeper, but a club like Man United, a club like Chelsea, a club like Tottenham, I think you sign a goalkeeper of Donnarumma's level and you add 10 points. Whatever you think points-wise United will get, wherever you think that lands us in the league, add 10 points to it. That's how good a goalkeeper he is. We saw it in the Champions League run. So, look, from my point of view and from my perspective, I don't think it's going to happen. But United are active in it. United are trying, and I like that. I'd love the deal on a footballing level because I've already said what a player he is. But I also kind of want the deal to happen because I'm just so interested to see what rivals would have to say. Genuinely intrigued at the reaction a deal like that would have on rivals. The bitterness, the anger, the frustration, the annoyance. There's just something about that deal that I think would be a thing of beauty to watch. The rationale. You've already seen it already with Cunha and Mbeumo. Only Choja for money. They're not even in our top 5, top 6. I don't even think they're in our top 7 paid players at the club currently. They've come in on 150 and 180 grand a week, respectively, which is very good money, but it's not the 200s, 250s, 300s that we've been paying our main signings over the last few years. So, look, United will pay Donnarumma good money if he was to come in. Don't see it happening personally. I think he'll sign that new deal at Paris Saint-Germain, but I'm glad we're in for him. And the advantage that Manchester United have potentially in a race for somebody like Donnarumma is the fact that most of the other big clubs in Europe that have money or could spend already have top goalkeepers. Real Madrid don't like spending, but they've got a top goalkeeper. City have got Ederson. They'd be a problem if they sold Ederson, by the way. But they've got Ederson right now. Alisson's at Liverpool. Arsenal have Raya. Chelsea, massive threat if he's up for sale. But are Chelsea going to pay the wages? It's still a genuine question for Chelsea. Will they pay an experienced player coming in the very biggest bucks? Maybe if they decide to do that, they'll get him over Man United. I'm sure of it. Tottenham ain't getting him. They're just not. They're not going to get him at all. You've obviously Paris Saint-Germain will be leaving. I don't think Bayern Munich are going to do it with Manuel Neuer still being there. And then you've got Barcelona, who don't have any money. So there's always a chance here. I'd rather us be... Barcelona also bought a new goalkeeper as well. So from my point of view and perspective, if he does decide to leave, there's a chance. I want us to throw our hat in the mix. I'd rather be rejected than not try at all. I don't see the point in not trying to get a deal like that done. But just my personal gut feeling, my personal view on this, I don't think we'll get it over the line. But I thought we'd cover it this morning. I thought we'd have a conversation about it at the very least and kind of go through that with you all. The other big Man United story, and by the way, we're going to share the link for you guys to phone in soon as well and have your say. So stay with us. The other big link and story with Man United, of course, at the moment is Benjamin Sesko. And most of you probably didn't stay up last night and watch Manchester United's pre-season game against Bournemouth. We were very good. Very good. So good, in fact, that the narrative has now changed that it's pre-season and it means nothing, where the 0-0 draw against Leeds meant the manager should be sacked, that we were going to get relegated, that we should burn the club down. So that's how you know when you're playing well, when everybody suddenly says it doesn't matter. But we need a new striker. Rasmus scored, yes. He had some good hold-up play, some good one-touches around the corner. But overall, we fundamentally need a better number 9. The price has now been set. The fee has been set. £64 million is the base fee. There'll be add-ons of around 10 million. And Leipzig also want a sell-on clause in that contract. Now, I'm not up for the sell-on clause, but it does depend how much. That being said, the £64 million base fee, I'm comfortable with. I don't think it's sort of extortionate. It's on the higher side of what I'd rather pay, but I also really like Sesko. I think he'll develop at Man United. There's a lot of talk we don't develop players. Well, Lenny Yoro was... So I'm only going to judge that based on what the new people running the club and our current manager have done. I can't say that Sesko will flop because Ed Woodward was shit at his job. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like you get a new job to be the manager of Tesco's and you turn up and the managing director says, actually, we're going to sack you on day one. Why? Well, you might be as bad as a previous manager. It doesn't make any sense to assess people in that way. So I think we will develop him in the same way we see Lenny Yoro coming on. So I'm happy with the base fee. When it comes to the add-ons, look, if he comes in and delivers and we get back in the Champions League and he's scoring goals and he's playing regularly and we have to end up paying those extra 10 million, he'll be worth it by then, because he's probably going to have to score by that point 50 odd goals, and we're going to have got back into the Champions League for a season or two, and then they get the money. And if he that's over 2 or 3 seasons, by the way. And if he's scoring at that rate and we're back in the Champions League, then if I could guarantee that to you now, he'll score 50 league goals in the next 3 years, and United will get back into the Champions League for each of them. But it means he costs £75 million today. You'd all pay it. You'd all pay it in a heartbeat. So I'm not too worried about the add-on element of the deal. I'm not. So look, we're prioritizing it. The price has been set. But I want to get your view on how good or bad a price do you personally think that is. Leave us your comments below. Leave us your comments if you're in the comment section. If you're watching the playback of this, it'd be great to hear from you. This here says, this super chat says, not sure about the 70 million plus add-ons plus 15% sell-on. Look, the sell-on clause, this is the bit I'm most interested in. So earlier on, Diego's telling us we should only trust Fabrizio. So let's just live in Diego's world for a moment. Supposedly, the dream signing for Leipzig is Rasmus Højlund. And if that's the case and they want a sell-on clause, let's do the same thing. Go, well, you can have him for this price. You can have him for 35, 40 million. And we want a 15, 20% sell-on clause. Because if both players are successful, it's far more likely that RB Leipzig sell him on than we sell on Benjamin Sesko within a particular time frame. So for me, I'm not against it as long as we get one. As long as we then get one and get a good one as well. And that's what I would do with someone like Rasmus going to a club like RB Leipzig. I'd say, okay, you can have 15% of whatever we sell Sesko for. I'd take that risk. But I'd say I want 20% or 25% of a sell-on clause for Rasmus. Because I think he'll do a great job at a club like Leipzig. I think he'll raise his value. I think he'll be sold for decent money in the future. And we'll get a nice cut. We probably won't get 20, 25%. It'll be nearer the 15 they're asking for. But I would net it off and offset it in that regard personally. That's what I would go out and do. Remember, strikers are rarity. There's always going to be cost a heavy amount. He's got so much potential. After all, we have been covering him for close to 2 years. A lot of people have, and there is a concern and a rawness about him. And I understand why Arsenal were not in the position to take that risk. I understand Arsenal's situation, Arsenal's circumstances are they've been second in the league for two or 3 years. They want to go, Arsenal want to go to that next level. They want to get over the line. Sesko may have come in and delivered, but I do think it's a much surer bet that Gyökeres comes in and delivers from day one. What remains to be seen is what things look like in 3 seasons, 4 seasons' time. In 4 seasons' time, Sesko is going to be in his mid-20s, still with 4, 5, 6 years left at the top. Victor Gyökeres maybe won't by the time he's in his early 30s. That isn't a dig at Arsenal's deal because I wanted Gyökeres over Benjamin Sesko with the goal return. And that's the situation that Arsenal now find themselves in. Man United are not in that predicament. It isn't do or die next season we just have to bring someone in we think is the most likely to deliver to help us win one of the big trophies. We're in a different scenario, which is one of the biggest reasons why you can't treat football clubs in a monolithic way where you view them all and judge them all the same at every moment because there are always differences in circumstances. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. This here says Donnarumma was always wanted more money and is willing to join any club who will offer it to him, but don't twist the narrative if he does join. Well, it's not about twisting the narrative if he joins. It's let's wait and see what he's earning. If he comes into Man United and he's on 400 grand a week, then I'm going to say the money was a massive factor. If he comes in and he's being paid similarly to say, De Gea and Onana were being paid, I'm fine with it. I expect him to get paid more than Onana because he's a better goalkeeper. So it's all about, is it within the ballpark? Are we paying the going rate for the best goalkeeper in the world? And who is the best goalkeeper in the world in all of your opinions? I mean, let's go to Liverpool for a minute. Let's look at Liverpool's salary. And let's look at Real Madrid's salaries for a moment. And let's actually go and look at PSG's as well. Let's look at PSG's salaries. You pay one of the biggest salaries in the world. So Liverpool right now are currently paying Alisson. Let's have a little look what he's getting paid. He'll be on decent money. So Alisson is currently... Let me just turn off the ad blocker. Sorry. Alisson is currently being paid 150 grand a week. That's quite low, to be fair. But if he gets a new renewal, that'll probably be higher. We look at Real Madrid. Let's click on here. And we'll look at Courtois. Courtois is earning... See, this is the problem with having the ads on. Courtois is earning 288,000 a week. And Donnarumma is currently earning at Paris Saint-Germain. It will be a lot. I'm sure it will be a lot. He's currently earning 244,000 a week. So that's looking at 3 of the best goalkeepers in the world. So United are paying a minimum. Well, they're not going to pay any less than what he's being paid now. That's no one that signs Donnarumma is paying him less than 244. It's euros, that is, by the way. So that in pounds is going to come in at let's just do the math. In pounds, that's 210,000 a week. So that's the minimum you're going to be paying him, but probably more because he's going to want a pay rise. Where I wouldn't go above 250, 260 as a base, but I won't change my stance on my narrative. Be very open and very honest about it. But is it wrong to pay one of the best players in the world the going rate salary for a player in their position? The answer for me is no. Now, moving on, we're going to take your calls on all of this later as well, so keep your eye out for the link when we post it. I want to speak about Arsenal's situation because they're playing today, and I think they're excited. I don't know if the news has come out yet as whether or not Gyökeres is going to feature in the squad. I'm sure their fans are very excited about it. But there's a few stories that have emerged, and we'll get onto Eze in a moment. But we'll start with Eze because it links to it. What's been said is that, and I want to read this passage out to you from Fabrizio. It says, after all the signings for Arsenal, it's now going to be important also to offload and sell some players. Now is going to be time to create the space financially for the top target, Eze. So I've said all along, I think this deal is close in the sense that I think every single duck is in a row. They know what they have to pay. They know what the player wants. The players agreed to join them. They just need to sell some players to make room in the squad and balance the books. It goes on to he's considered the perfect player to add. They are in contact with his agent. They spoke to the player several times and the players camped several times. Eze is very tempted by this opportunity. Now, we know what that means. That is just playing it down in case it doesn't happen, but he wants to join. He says they still didn't speak to Crystal Palace. I disagree with that. They must have done to know what the buyout clause is and the payment terms. It says, so let's see how those conversations will go in August. We all know how complicated it is to negotiate with Palace, but Arsenal will try. That all being said, there are two deals going on currently with Fulham and another player. So Lokonga is quickly moving towards an exit. There's 3 different Premier League clubs, including Everton, that have offered him terms. They're waiting for him to pick which side he wants, and then they will move in to speak to Arsenal. So that's one. You've got Reece Nelson, which is very, very close to being done, very close to getting over the line, very, very close to completing. Then you've got Zinchenko. Now, it turns out, this is from Ben Jacobs, that Fulham have made an approach to Zinchenko. Fulham have been in talks with the players' camp since early June, and they are now considering making a formal bid. Arsenal value the player at around 15 million euros. So there are 3 deals for exits for Arsenal that are very close to happening, that are in very advanced stages. Now, you actually look at the positions of those players. We know why Zinchenko is going, because Calafiori and Lewis Skelly are ahead of him. Reece James have just gone and signed, Reece Nelson. They've just gone and signed Madueke from Chelsea. And we obviously know why Lokonga is going to move on, because they've got Norgard, they've got Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard. He's just not going to get the game time. But that's what's needed to complete this deal. So again, it's another message, I think, from Arsenal, obviously via journalists, to be patient. Berta knows what he's doing. They're also right to balance the books. Yes, Liverpool made 3 massive signings early in the window. A massive reason for that was they didn't buy anyone last year. Let's not act like they did that because they're just the best. They're fantastic what they've done, but there's a rationale for it. They got Ekitike midway through the window. They're now working on their main deal of the summer, but they've got to balance their books before doing it. Diaz has gone. They're working on other exits now. It's very normal what Arsenal are doing, and I don't think it should be twisted, and I don't think it should be turned, and I don't think it should be I don't think it should be manipulated by negative Arsenal fans and rivals into not being serious, not acting right. I saw this challenge from someone on Twitter the other day where they said, why are we not willing to pay the buyout clause for Eze, but we were willing to pay £50 million or £48 million for Madueke? And I thought, I get the premise of what you're saying. The flaw in that analysis, the faux pas in that analysis, is Arsenal are willing to pay the release clause. What they're negotiating via intermediaries is the structure of the deal, because Madueke isn't costing £30 million up front. If Chelsea said you can have him for 48 million, but we want £30 million cash this summer, it wouldn't have been done that quickly. Chelsea were very happy for those payments to be spread over 5 years, which from a cash perspective works well. So yes, the overall fee of a transfer is important for clubs, but you've got to look at the Mbeumo deal at Manchester United as an example, well documented and well coveted by the experts, that United got payment terms of 4 years, which is why the club were happy to pay 65 million as the set fee. If United would have offered lower terms, it's believed that they could have got the player for around 60 million. But that would have meant parting ways with 20 million pound this summer rather than around 12.5 to 13, spending an extra 7 million pound of cash that's very light at Manchester United at this particular moment. And the payment terms that Man United have been able to negotiate for Cunha and for Mbeumo are one of the reasons why United are now in a position where we don't need to sell now to get the striker. We're just working on the best deal possible. The reason for that is because we've been able to spread the cost of those players over a longer period, freeing up more cash for this summer's initial payment for a striker without selling anybody. Of course, Rashford's gone out on loan. There is still a lot of confidence at Man United that the Sanchos and Antonys and Garnachos will go, but there now isn't a necessity to sell them until the deadline of next year's PSR window, which means this season can still have new recruits. So we have to understand this. And I often see, this is my problem with a lot of football fans. We just don't listen to the experts when it comes to why transfers take such a long time, why transfers, sometimes they spend 3 weeks negotiating the terms more than the price. Because for clubs, it's okay, 55 million or 60 million, that isn't the end of the world, that difference. But paying half of it up front or paying 10 million pounds a year for 5-6 years, that's the difference. Because for any organization, and this doesn't, the money matters, cash is king. And you don't want to be spending all your cash. You don't want bad payment terms, because what that does, it stopped Arsenal in the past with bad payment terms. Man United have been screwed many a times. You go, right, it's January. We could go and win this if we go out and get the DM we need, or we've got an injury, let's go and get another player. But if you buy loads of players and the terms are bad and you've spent all your cash, even if you amortize, it leaves you in a predicament. It leaves you in a hole and you can't get out of it. So football fans have got to start supporting their clubs, backing their clubs, and educating themselves on the reason why the structuring of deals is so important. The best run clubs in the world do this. It's one of the reasons why Real Madrid keep doing all this work on signing players for free. That is their methodology. They don't want to spend the money because they don't have the cash anymore. They have a big income, but they have a big expenditure. They don't have the cash flow, as in they don't have the cash reserves that the Premier League teams get. Because we earn less, some of our clubs earn less money, but our turnover isn't as high. You know, so you could earn £1,000 a day. You could earn £1,000 a day as a business. But if your overheads are 950 pounds, you're making £50 a day. I could turn over £500 a day. But if my expenditure is only £100, I'm making £400 a day. My business that turns over less is making more profit a day than yours that's turning over double. It's as simple and straightforward as that. And that's why they've gone for this model where they're signing people for free. It's easier for them to do. And even the signing on fees, they can just stagger that in people's wages and pay them each year rather than paying clubs. So, yeah, look, I think that I just think that Arsenal fans need to wise up here. He's a fantastic player. I think you're going to get him. You've just got to bide your time and not panic. And I have noticed this has been the summer. This has been the summer of panic, in my personal opinion. People panicking left, right, and centre over all of this. But I think they get it done. I think they get it over the line. And I think he's a fantastic player. I don't think they've got anything. I don't think Arsenal got too much to worry about. It's a very good summer indeed. Madueke is the only deal that I'm personally looking at and saying I'm not sure about. Could the money have been better spent elsewhere? But aside from that, backup keeper and centre back, brilliant Zubimendi, brilliant Norgard deal, brilliant Eze deal. I think people will be talking world-class levels by the end of the season. I think he's going to have a massive glow up in terms of people's view of him. And then you've got Gyökeres, one of the best signings any club has made this summer, last summer, the year before, next year, year after, will be one of the best signings in Arsenal Football Club's history. That's how good a player he is. So I don't think there's much to be angry, concerned, or frustrated about from an Arsenal fan perspective, in my personal point of view. But look, I want your take. I want to know what you think. And Phil, before we take your call, I'm going to put the link in the chat because I also want to hear from you all today. I want to know what you're thinking, feeling, etc. On all these deals. Let me just get the link sorted here for a second. The link is pinned into the live chat. By the way, get the likes up, please, people. Nearly 3,000 people watching. Let's get this to 1,000 likes whilst we're live, please. Doesn't cost you anything to do. Please get that done. A few more comments here that I didn't put up earlier. First one said, oh no, I did do that one earlier. It says, yes, I did do them comments. Sorry, I missed them. I didn't think I did, but there we go. Arsenal must. Must what? Unpack it. Same for me, reality. I like that. I like that. Well, I want to talk Chelsea for a minute because Chelsea have done some very good business this summer as well. Hato is now in. The next stage, the next deal, I think is going to be very, very interesting indeed. And they are closing in on a deal for Xavi. Xavi wants Chelsea. They are having to deal with Leipzig. Now, Leipzig are a difficult club to deal with. That cannot be underestimated. One of the reasons I think United can get a swift deal done if the player picks us is because of Christopher Vivale's relationship and know-how of the football club and everything surrounding it. That all being said, there are a few talks, there are a few rumors that Chelsea's deal with Xavi Simons is going to stall. There are problems with it, etc., etc. I don't think there is. I think the deal is progressing well. Chelsea are just getting their ducks in a row. They're dealing with a very difficult club to work with. And I saw this story, and I just got to search for it again because I stupidly shut the page down and didn't bookmark it. I saw this story that said, where's it gone? No, not that one. Where's it gone here? No, that's the fake one. This is it here. So this is what was put out by Fabrizio Romano, and it's similar to Man United and very, very similar to the Chelsea situation. And Chelsea have got to find players to leave as well, because what have Chelsea got to do? Balance their books. Christopher Nkunku, it says here, must leave Chelsea because the club want to make space for Xavi Simons. Nkunku is on Inter's list, but only if Lookman does not arrive. And that's all that's slowing this deal down. So I spoke to a few journalists a couple of weeks ago. I think you remember me mentioning this on the show where they said that the deals are considered done from a Chelsea perspective. And I've reached back out to them and said, well, when could Chelsea fans expect to see these deals done? And they said, well, Chelsea still are adamant internally that these deals will happen. These deals will get over the line. They're not concerned about them. They're not worried about them. They're not phased. Where the problem lies, where the issue is in the fact that they've got to balance their books. So they're not worried about the Xavi not picking them or Xavi not wanting to be there. They're not even that concerned with the terms of the deal that they agree with. The terms of the deal they end up agreeing with Leipzig. It's more about offsetting and balancing those books, which I just think makes a lot more sense on why some of these deals now are in this little sort of place of purgatory in many ways. But overall, Chelsea fans, I'd love to know what you think and what you feel in our comment section below. I just think this is another fantastic piece of business from you. I think he's had unsubscribed mine says Chelsea fans are not worried. Well, I'm not saying you all are. I'm just going by some of the reactions I've seen online, I suppose. But you shouldn't be worried because I just think this is another deal, another talent. He's a player that I don't think gets enough credit for how good he is. I think he's a little bit underrated, a little bit written off when he shouldn't be. And I think he's going to deliver massively. They haven't had much luck in that area with Nkunku and João Felix, and there's another name that springs to mind that's in that role. But I just look at Xavi, and I always thought Leipzig was the wrong move for him. I felt he needed a bigger step up. And they didn't have a great year last year, but I actually think they have quite a lot of very good players in their team. There's just something off about them as a collective last year. And I just think this is a great bit of business for Chelsea. So look, we want to take your calls on this. Want to know what you think. Want to know what you feel. Terry, how are you? Ollie, sorry, how are you? I'm good. Ollie Watkins should go to Man United and Newcastle should get Sesko for £100 million deal for Sesko. Newcastle deal right now. I disagree. I like Watkins, but I prefer Sesko. He's going to... And I get everyone's claims because that fool Lou was watching yesterday called him. That's a joke if you don't know. And I get everything she said, and she holds a lot of water. I just think we'll develop Sesko well at United in the same way that you're going to see another level from Manu this year. Lenny Yoro is going to go up a level. Heaven's going to look a good player. Already look at Dorgu so far this summer. You can see a progression. You can see a difference in him. So I'm personally very confident. So I've got to take a tablet. I've got a bit of a swollen throat again. It's all the bloody streaming I do. So my voice box is a little sore. So I need to take an anti-inflammatory just to make it go down a little bit. So yes, let's take some calls. Let's hear from what you guys on the show today. It means I can talk a little bit less as well. So let's bring in KJ in first. We've got Liam coming on. We've got Seb. We've got Cal and a few others that are backstage with us for the next half an hour or so. KJ, GG.
Yo.
G Donnarumma. What you saying?
What I'm saying is, I don't know about that one, Chief. You know what I'm saying? That Donnarumma is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and he has been. So I used to be very fixated on playing out from the back because that's what Ten Hag wanted to do. That's what Ollie was trying to do at times, and we couldn't do that with De Gea. He just couldn't. He just wasn't good with his feet. So I went through a period. I was like, no, if we have a goalkeeper that plays well with his feet, we should be able to control more games, be further up the pitch, and score more goals and go on, and therefore not need a goalkeeper who's like world class at goalkeeping. Having Onana has made me change my mind. I was sucked into the utter woke nonsense that is ball playing goalkeepers. I don't care about that anymore. Give me a goalkeeper who can keep the ball out of the net. And Donnarumma is one of those goalkeepers that made me change my mind. Because you could be the greatest in the world with your feet. If your team's not scoring goals and conceding chances, you are the last line of defense. The last thing I need is my keeper helping the opposition by putting it into our own net, flapping it in the net. So Donnarumma would be an excellent addition. My only thing is, and this is the main reason why I do not think we're getting him, is he is already on around 250 to 300k a week, including bonuses, at PSG. The reason why he wants to potentially leave PSG is not because he feels like he's won everything and he wants a new challenge, he wants to experience something new. He's grateful for his time at PSG, but I think it's time to move on. It's not that. If it was that, I'd be like, okay, cool. It's over contract renewal, which means he wants more money. You know what I'm saying? He's already on probably one of the highest paid goalkeepers in the world, and he wants more than that. And that is fine. That is his prerogative. He's allowed to do that. He's a Champions League winner. He's a Euros winner. He's done good things in the world of football. But at Man United, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. We can't afford what he is wanting to be paid. And with the way that Ineos have been going, we've trying to reduce the wage bill, trying to make sure that people are they have good wages, but not enough to where it cripples us. I do think that someone of his level will demand a lot more than the 150, 180k a week that some of our new players are getting, and even lower than that. So yeah, he will be an excellent addition. I will take him in a heartbeat. But do I think we'll get him? No. Do you think he really wants us? No. I think his agent is doing his job, which is get the best package for my client. And I believe that will be at PSG. I know they've got Chevalier lined up, and who knows? Maybe they do both. Maybe they do Donnarumma this year, let him go on a free, and then have Chevalier already adapted to the team, and they can just come in straight away. But I just can't see us paying a transfer fee and then paying up to a minimum. It'll be a minimum 250 a week for a goalkeeper. I don't think we'll ever do that again ever since David.
I hear you. I think we can if the motivation isn't money. So if the motor, and that's again, this is about our footballing people making the right decision, because signing Donnarumma will give United fans the ultimate dopamine hit, like Di Maria did, like Falcao did, like Bastian Schweinsteiger did, like Ronaldo did, Pogba did. We can keep listing these players again and again and again. But how many, Alexis Sanchez, but how many joined because they truly believed in what we were doing? And I heard Martin O'Neill say on TalkSport last night, he doesn't think football players care about projects. It's about the club I'm just like, that's probably the reason why you haven't been a manager for a long time. I think that it's a new word that's being used, and you're not and you're not computing with it because you didn't use that word. But I do think it matters, and I think the club have to look at it. And if Donnarumma's like, look, I want to be paid what I'm worth, but I really want a new challenge, and I love the idea of being part of this United rebuild. I want to be part of, getting this club back to the very top. Then I don't care if he gets 300 grand a week. But that has to be his chief motivator. If it's a case of, look, I've got these 3 offers. If you can beat it, I'll join. We should be kicking him out the door, because I don't want that. I want someone that wants. They don't need to want us over everybody else, because Sesko would have joined Arsenal if they got the deal done. But it's about when we're presenting them their ideas. I don't want it just to be about, well, pay me what I'm worth and I'll come. There has to be a buy-in to what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve. So as long as we do that, I'm relatively happy, but we'll see what happens there. And what's your thoughts on the price and the fee for Benjamin Sesko?
Yeah, obviously it's a bit steep, like in terms of he's a talented young player. He's done well in the Bundesliga. Obviously, I don't subscribe to this thing that is completely rubbish and is trash. I think there's potential there, but again, it's not the same as Rasmus Højlund with the 72 million we paid for him, because he didn't have an actual CV to earn that price tag. We folded and ended up paying that. So at least Sesko has some kind of football CV where you can look at him and be like, okay, you have a history of scoring goals, you have a history of developing, you can come here. But it is on the steeper side of where we would want to be. If you were, listen, I can only say numbers that would make me feel nice, not to say that they're realistic. But if he was 50 million, I would bite your hand off and say, go for it. Going up towards the 70 million pounds, 69 to 70 million pounds is more than I'm willing to. I would normally be willing to pay out. But the key thing is that if Rasmus is really someone that RB Leipzig wants, and they can get a deal done for him, they can convince him to join them instead of trying to stay at Man United, then I'm not too bothered about how much Sesko will cost, because the amount of money would get back from Højlund, which I believe you could do a 35 plus 5 kind of deal. Like you can get around 40 million, I think, for Højlund where it is. I wouldn't be too upset with 40 million for Højlund, and then we pay the 70 million for Sesko, because then it balances it out. And obviously we don't do net spend here, but like you've basically essentially saved like 30 million there, you know what I mean, or spent around 30 million.
Yeah. I think that's really important. I do. Viewers, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions in the comment section below. Cal's coming on now. Cal is a gooner. Welcome back to the show, mate. How are you?
Hey, what's up? Change of scenery. Just wanted to take a walk outside. As you can tell, it's nighttime in Australia here. But concerning United, because I watched the preseason game, and I was very impressed. That was an enjoyable game to watch. It was, as I keep saying everywhere, it's like the best United I've seen in a while in terms of style of play. I think you guys were passing the ball really well, one-touch passes, and also it seems like the players are more confident because they're trying more riskier passes, and they're playing. You guys just played through. Who did you guys play again?
Bournemouth.
Do you remember? Bournemouth. Yeah, you guys just played through them like if they weren't there at times. So I think if you're a United fan, you should be extremely happy with that performance, especially because Cunha wasn't even playing and Boomer wasn't playing, and you guys are probably going to get Sesko or Watkins, most likely Sesko now, I think. So you guys don't even have your main attackers in, and also Dorgu. He looks like a different player. I think he's arriving. He just looks electric, and I think he just needed a confidence boost, and I think he's getting it. So I think United. I think you guys are laughing. I think you guys, if this is what United's going to look like for the upcoming season, I'd say 8th is bare minimum. I can't see you guys playing like this and adding that quality, like coming any less than that. To be honest, I think top 5 is actually not. Becoming 5th is actually not like a. I don't think that's a far-fetched thing.
Yeah,
I
go
just
on.
want to ask a quick. Did you say you think Hoyland's looking electric? I just want to make sure.
No, Dogu.
Dogu. So at least I completely missed who you said. That's why I had to make sure. I was like, wait, we've talked about Hoyland already. As he said,
No.
Dogu,
I made a joke. I made a joke saying, "Don't bother getting Sesko Hoyland scored that header." But that was a joke.
Okay.
That was
No, that's fair. I just wanted to make sure.
okay.
That
That was
I
yeah.
hear you, Cal. I think you're right to a certain degree. I think if we continue to grow and get better at how we tried to play last night, we can get in the top. I think the top 8 we can fit in. I think we can get into a European position. If Sesko comes in and scores goals with this, I mean, none of our new signings were playing last night either. You had a new goalkeeper into that as well, and I think that we have to start setting those expectations if we start to see the football improve. I wanted to ask you about Arsenal. Obviously, I know you kick off in about an hour's time.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the situation with Eze? Because there's a number of goons I see online now getting frustrated and annoyed that it isn't done, that it isn't happening. Are you relaxed about it personally?
I'm like, as soon as we got Eucharist kind of sorted, my temperature for the window has just kind of dropped because it's so refreshing having a striker, and I'm just kind of relaxed about everything. Obviously, I feel like we need Eze. I feel like we need his caliber of player in the team, and I think the club's doing whatever they can to get that done. I think once we get a sale or two, that becomes a reality. I'm not stressed about it. I do think we get him though, and he's like, for me personally, I think there's a lot of Duma Arsenal fans. Wait, did I? Yep. There's a lot of Duma Arsenal fans that, are saying, even with Eze, it's not going to be, that good. But for me personally, like, I think people are underestimating what Zubimendi does for this team. I think people are underestimating what Gyökeres is going to do for this team. And with an Eze as well, I think we've plugged almost every single one of our holes. I think Eze can play on the left. I'm one of those guys who think Eze would actually be excellent for us as a left winger if he comes in, just because I've seen us play with Trossard there, and Trossard isn't a pacey guy. He's not a guy that's going to run back like Martinelli, and I think we'll probably play Eze like we play Trossard, who's more technical, and Eze is actually a midfielder who actually takes on his man one-on-one and will beat opponents. Like, he dribbles. Like, I know he's a midfielder, but he dribbles like a winger. Like, he can beat his man. And that's what we kind of need on the left. And I think that's probably why we got Nani on the left as well. So and Eze has that X factor. I think he will win us. Like, Eze by himself could probably get us 9 points in the league from just winning. Like,
just an update for you. Gyökeres isn't in the squad today.
No,
just not at all. Not even on the bench.
Not on the bench either. No.
Well, I got something come in that says he's on the bench. Have you got the official lineup?
I'm on Arsenal's Twitter page. Unless I can't read it, unless I've misread it. Yeah, I don't think he's playing.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's a bit disappointing, but I mean, he's just gotten like one training session with the team.
Oh, hang on, no, he might be. Is he? Hang on.
Yeah, I can't see him
on their website. No, because someone said his name might be behind a graphic.
No, he is. He is on the website.
He's on the bench. He's on the website.
He's on the bench.
He's on the bench. Okay.
What it is on the graphic on their Twitter, it says "read the team news here." His name's under that. His name's blanked out by their graphic.
Wow, nice one.
Yeah, I'm confused then.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's to be expected. That's to be expected. I think thrusting him start against Tottenham, your first game. Probably not. And I think he's probably just going to get some minutes at the very end. But to be honest, I'm not stressed. He still has time to get embedded in the team. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And I think even if Eze is the last player we get, I think I'd be pretty happy with this window.
On
personally.
Eze, how do you think Arteta will tweak the system if Eze is playing left wing? Because he's not the out wingers that you guys used to play, and he's not going to hug the touchline like a Martinelli, not like a Saka on that side, on the opposite side. So he likes to drift in, but he also likes his left backs to also come into the midfield. How do you reckon he's going to balance that out? Because you're going to potentially have a massive free space on that left wing because no one's filling that hole naturally.
Yeah, well, the thing is like, as I said, Trossard doesn't hug that touchline like Martinelli or Saka does either. Trossard always drifts in, and he always drifts in because he likes to shoot. A lot of the times you'll see Trossard where Odegaard's supposed to be because of how far he drifts in games at times. So I don't think it's something completely alien to the way we play, and I think, I mean, whatever he does, I mean, Arteta, he's gonna adapt to Eze. With a player like that, with that much quality, I think it's gonna be fine, especially because we signed Gyökeres, and Gyökeres likes drifting to the left as well. So we can have Eze drifted in, Gyökeres drifted into that space on the left because that's his tendency. So I think it'll be just fine. For me personally, and this is just my opinion on football in general, I think at times I feel like we get a little bit too technical, like we just trying to figure stuff out. But for me personally, sometimes you just have to bring in the quality. And Eze, from just a pure baseline, high quality level, just raises the bar of the team, and it will work better than what we have.
It's so true. If you make your team fitter and stronger, and if you bring in better quality footballers, the system improves. It's just that we see it. Just want to let everybody see as well, by the way, the graphic I was talking about. See, this is what they did on their Twitter. See, they put the read. People said I'm sharing unconfirmed news. They literally covered his name up with the black underline of the graphic there, which is crazy. Cal, I appreciate you coming on. I'm sure we'll speak after the Arsenal game. We'll chat again soon, my man. Cheers, bro. Next on the show, we've got Newcastle fan Kane is with us. We had a little chat. Mate, every time you come on and talk about a deal you guys might get, Sesko yesterday, it seems to slip away within 12 hours of you being on this show. So
I predicted it this time.
Are you going to sign Sesko? Please say yes.
I fucking hope so at this rate, man. Honestly, it's fucking shambles, man. No. I mean, again, who knows? They've set the price. I've heard conflicting reports. Obviously, Ornstein said that Man United are prioritizing Sesko. I heard Romano saying that in his video, I think it was yesterday, he dropped it, that the player hasn't decided yet and his decision is going to come out either today or tomorrow or something like that. So who knows? Be another one if we don't get it. But I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, the one thing that Romano and Fabrizio, or like even a Laurie Whitwell or any United journalists haven't put out, really, none of them really have said that it's Sesko's preference is Man United. That's not come out yet. So we don't know. So it's just mainly the fact that we've had encouragement from the player and maybe from a bit from RB as well, that we can strike a deal. And Man United internally have decided that Sesko is number one. So does that necessarily mean it's 100% deal? No, there's still a chance that Sesko decides that actually thinking about it, like Newcastle is better for me. And as a United fan, I'd be obviously annoyed. You know what I mean? I'd want a better striker, but at the same time, I'd understand the decision. And obviously, Newcastle, you're in a position where you need somebody, and you're. I don't want to say desperation, as in like you guys are on your knees begging, but I mean, so your need is a lot higher right now than Man United's. You'll act quicker in the market. You'll give him what he wants, probably with less negotiations. That might feed into your favor. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. The only reason why I'm confident is mainly Ravel and his relationship with Red Bull and the group. And also, I don't think Man United would even prioritize Sesko if there wasn't an inclination that he would pick us. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
maybe. I mean,
yeah, so that's why I sit with it. That's why.
I hear that. I think on that, it's interesting that we're also hearing that Ruben Amorim prefers Watkins over Sesko, and this one seems to be purely led by Vavel, which, you know, it'll be interesting to see how that works then, if that happens, and if that works in your favor or against you in the negotiations. Because if Sheshko's seeing that the manager prefers another striker, that might also sway him. I mean, we're essentially, all of what we're talking about is conjecture at this point, really, because we can't really read the minds of what the player's thinking, what he values. I think from a pure footballing standpoint, I still maintain Newcastle's the better option for him, because I hear what Terry was saying earlier in terms of with Euro, in terms of improving players. I don't think Man United have proven they can improve players with this current setup. And if anything, it feels like it's the opposite, where you've brought a lot of young talent in. They may have done really well for a season or two. If you look at Manu, Garnacho, Ahmad now looks like is like the new one. Hoyland as well. I feel like Man United are in this cycle at the moment that they bring in these young talents. They do well. They get overhyped to an extent, and then they sort of peter out. And I don't know if, whereas with Newcastle and Eddie Howe, you're seeing players actually improving, from Joe Linton to Isak to Bruno to Jacob Murphy last year was the second highest assists in the league, which people seem to keep forgetting. Miguel Almiron as well. Like, we have proven records of improving players, and that might appeal to him more. I guess we won't know for definite until the next few days, and even then, I still feel like I feel like Benjamin might just say, rather than preferring one or the other, he may just say, I don't mind either or, in which case we have more of a chance then, because as you said, we've already given him the project, we've already sold it to him, and then we've already said to Leipzig, listen, we'll pay what you want. So it might even come down to Leipzig. I know that you were saying that they're big admirers of Rasmus. He's already come out and said he doesn't want to leave Man United. So is that deal going to be easy to make? I don't know. And then it comes down to, are you willing to fork the money out for him? And again, this is where it'll be a fine margin with this one.
I do agree. If it gets down to the player saying I'm happy with both, get into a bidding war, you'll beat us. You'll because of because of the Isak money along with everything else.
Yep.
But that's why my hope is that he picks us. If he picks us as a preference and says I only want United, then it's off to Nico Jackson for you guys. Do you know what I mean? So
I hope not. If anything, it'll be. I honestly think though, if he does reject us, and that's fine. I think we may make one attempt to Watkins and test our waters. I'm not a biggest fan of Watkins, but it's better than nothing. I don't know if Aston Villa will be willing to sell to us, because we are somewhat direct rivals with Villa at the moment, and that's not going to go down well. And I think if we miss out on Watkins, I honestly feel we may say no to Isak. I don't want that to happen. He doesn't want to play for us. As we've seen, he's literally flown to another country to train somewhere else, which has pissed me off a little bit. And I feel like an unhappy Isak for a year is better than what we currently, with no Isak and a whole bunch of money. It'll be come down to that. I don't think it'll be through the lack of trying that will keep him. Again, I would prefer to sell him at the right price, but at the same time, the club has to look after the club. And I guess what we might end up doing, if it does come down to that, I can see the only way we make amends with Isak is maybe say, listen, we've tried to bring in replacements. We can't. Hopefully, you'll understand that. What we'll do for you is we'll give you another contract at 225k a week, for instance, and a guaranteed release clause of X amount, maybe 100, 120, and then that way he has the security of getting. He's then given more money, which keeps him. Because we only have to keep him happy for a year, I guess, at that point. It protects the club as well. And that's probably what's in the best interest of the club in that scenario. Now, obviously, if we do get Sesko and Liverpool pay the money, then he has to go up, in my opinion. But I feel like what people seem to keep forgetting is Newcastle are not in the market for Isak and Liverpool. They're in the market for Newcastle. And sometimes these difficult decisions might have to be made. It's a mess though, in any which way you flip it.
I hear you. I really do. We are at the end of the show, people. I'm live in about 10 minutes. Sorry, on That's Football. This is going to redirect you to the watch along for the North London Derby pre-season game. So I will see you all over there. Sorry, I couldn't take more calls on the show. It's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So I apologize. But we're back live after the Arsenal game. We're also going to be live for the Top 6 show at 5 p.m. today. So keep yourselves here. I'm live in like 10 minutes. Well, actually, about 5 minutes. I'm going live on the United on That's Football. So see me over there in a moment. Take care, everybody. Goodbye. God bless. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Peace.